Imagine being born to a US Army soldier on an overseas base raised across multiple states and suddenly finding yourself in a foreign land with no official identity. This is the harrowing tale of Jermaine Thomas, a man born in Germany to a Jamaican father and an American mother with Kenyan roots, who has now been sent to Jamaica, a country he has never visited before. His story, though personal, highlights a greater issue of statelessness and the severe consequences of bureaucratic confusion. In the year 1986, Jermaine Thomas was born at a US military base in Germany, a child of a Jamaican father who served in the US Army and an American mother with Kenyan roots. But his life would soon take an unexpected turn. Fast forward nearly 3 decades later, and Jermaine found himself deported to Jamaica in the year 2025, a country he has never called home, without any citizenship to claim. Despite being a US citizen by birthright, his status was complicated by his unique circumstances. 10 years ago, his case went all the way to the US Supreme Court, questioning whether children born on US military bases abroad to American parents automatically inherit US citizenship. This landmark case was only one chapter in a series of events that would ultimately strip Jermaine of the nationality that should have been his birthright. After years of moving between states due to his parents' military career, Jermaine had little stability. His first memories are of Washington State, though he would soon experience life in Texas, bouncing in and out of foster homes after his parents' divorce. His stepfather, also a military man, had his own children, adding further strain to the young boy's emotional well-being. By the time Jermaine was 11 years old, he went to live with his biological father in Florida, but that too was short-lived. His father passed away from kidney failure in the year 2010, and Jermaine found himself lost, homeless, and entangled in a series of legal troubles. It was during an eviction in Killeen, Texas, that Jermaine's life took its almost dramatic turn. Living alone and unsure where to go, he placed his belongings in his front yard. He was with his pet dog, Miss Sassy Pants, who was tied to a pole when the police arrived. What seemed like a simple misunderstanding about his dog leash quickly escalated into an arrest for suspected trespassing, a misdemeanor in Texas, USA. Jermaine's decision to assert his rights and refuse to speak with officers without knowing the charges led to his detention. Soon, his situation worsened. Jermaine, who has never been involved in serious criminal activity except in 2008, where he had drug-related charges, found himself transferred from a local jail to an Immigration and Custom Enforcement ICE detention center. This marked the beginning of an ordeal that lasted for months. Though the US had no claim on his citizenship, and despite his father's long service to the country, Jermaine was treated as an illegal immigrant. After spending several weeks in Texas jail, Jermaine was moved to a facility in Conroe, Texas. Here he remained for 2.5 months. Despite his complex situation, no one seemed to know what to do with him. His case was labeled unique, but nothing was done to resolve it. He was told that Washington, D.C. had control over his case, but as days passed, it became clear that Jermaine's fate was a bureaucratic nightmare. His frustration mounted. Without any answers, he filed complaints with the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, and the Office of the Inspector General, but his case continued to spin in legal circles. Things took an even stranger turn when Jermaine was moved to a room full of Spanish-speaking detainees. Unbeknownst to him, plans were already underway to deport him to Jamaica. At this point, Jermaine felt as if he were being treated like an object, being kidnapped and trafficked across borders. His refusal to follow orders was, in his mind, an act of defiance against the unjust system that had already taken so much from him. Jermaine's eventual deportation to Jamaica was not only a shock but a cruel irony. He was sent to a country he had never visited, a place where he didn't speak the local language and no friends or family to rely on. It was his first time in Kingston, Jamaica, and the experience was nothing short of surreal. While he could communicate in English, the local Patois dialect was foreign to him, leaving him isolated and confused.
And some of you acting like you're born saved. And when you was in the world, you used to give the devil everything. Shake your shoulder and give God praise.
At the airport, he was greeted by officers who treated him with a mix of indifference and coldness. Jammeh, shackled and humiliated, was escorted onto the plane at the end of a long line of detainees. He sat in the back of the aircraft, feeling as though he were in the midst of a walk of shame. When the plane landed, it was a chaotic scene, with passengers rushing to disembark, yet Jammeh was left sitting in the back, waiting for a fate that he had no control over. Jammeh's arrival in Jamaica marked by confusion and fear. He had no idea what to do or where to go. He didn't know anyone in Jamaica, and he had no connection to the countries except for his father's birthplace. With no citizenship and no passport, Jammeh found himself in a hotel in Kingston, unsure how long his stay would last or who was footing his bills. He struggled to understand the Jamaican culture and dialect, and more importantly, he didn't know how to survive. In the back of his mind, the thought kept repeating, what happens next? He had no answers, just the endless uncertainty of life caught between two worlds. While Jammeh's story may seem like an isolated tragedy, it speaks to a broader issue of displacement that is not only unique to any one country. Jamaica and Kenya, though they are geographically distant, they share a history of migration, statelessness, and fight for identity. Both countries have a strong diaspora. Jamaicans in the United States and Kenya scattered across the globe. People like Jammeh who feel disconnected from both their country of origin and their place of residence are all too common in these diasporic communities. In Kenya, for instance, many people born to Kenyan parents abroad face similar challenges with citizenship, especially if they are born in countries where the law doesn't automatically grant citizenship to those born on foreign soil. These challenges are compounded by Kenya's own legal issues, including the complexity surrounding dual nationality. The cases of statelessness are growing in Kenya as the country, like Jamaica, sees a mix of citizens abroad seeking to return or claiming roots that might be hard to establish. For people like Jammeh, the dream of living a stable life is continually undermined by legal systems and don't account for the realities of global migration. Statelessness therefore becomes not just a personal issue, but one that affects entire families and communities. As Jammeh continues to navigate life in Jamaica, he remains uncertain of his future. He has no job, no citizenship, and no clear way to support himself. Though he is trying to rebuild his life, the question remains, what kind of future does someone like Jammeh have in a country that is never known and with no national identity to claim? While he might have been born to a Jamaican father, Jamaica is not home in any real sense. At the same time, he cannot be given a citizen of Kenya, German, and neither now that the United States has deported him. So he has been left stateless.
Despite never living in Jamaica, he was deported there because of a paperwork error and legal technicalities. I just think to myself, this can't really be happening, Thomas told CNN. He is now legally stateless, with no country recognizing him as a citizen.
His life, shaped by years of military relocation and broken immigration system, has left him adrift in a world that seems unwilling to provide the support he so desperately needs. This ongoing battle for people like Jammeh is a call to action for reform, both in the US immigration system and globally. Statelessness is not just a legal issue, it's a human rights crisis. Jammeh Thomas is a living proof of how easily a person can slip through the cracks and become forgotten soul in a system that values policy over people. For Jamaicans, his story is a poignant reminder of the complexities of identity, the price of bureaucracy, and the human cost of immigration laws that don't always take the full picture into account. It's a story that demands more than sympathy. It demands change. Thank you so much for staying tuned, for always supporting this channel. If you have not subscribed to this channel, kindly do me the favor of subscribing, liking this video, leaving your comments. Until next time, Jah blessings.